Today, we're diving into the pretty bizarre world of a parasite, one that takes an incredible journey through the human body. And believe it or not, that journey can end with it literally looking you right in the eye. I mean, seriously, what if a worm just appeared in your eye? It sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, right? But for millions of people, this isn't fiction. It's a terrifying reality. So let's get right into the story of this incredible parasite. All right, so let's meet this thing. What exactly are we talking about here? Well, it's a parasite, and its formal name is Loa loa. So Loa loa is a type of parasitic roundworm, and it's earned this really dramatic nickname, the eye worm. You can probably guess why, and we are definitely going to get to that. What's interesting is its habitat is super specific. You'll only find this particular parasite in the equatorial rainforests of Africa. And get this, these are not microscopic creatures we're talking about. The females can grow up to 60 millimeters long. That is over 2 inches. The males are a bit smaller, but still a pretty substantial size. Now, just for a second, imagine something that big moving around just under your skin. Kind of creepy, right? You might be thinking this is some super rare, bizarre medical thing, but it's not. In the places where Loa loa is common, the infection rates are just staggering. I mean, in some areas, we're talking about up to 75% of the entire population being infected. So this isn't just a curiosity. For millions of people, it's just a part of life. Okay, so that brings up a pretty big question, right? How in the world does a 2-inch worm even get inside a person to begin with? Well, it all starts with a bite from a very specific insect. The whole infection cycle really comes down to one thing, the deer fly. So here's how it works. An infected fly bites a person, and in that moment, it drops off these tiny little larvae into the bite wound. Those larvae then grow up, they mature into the adult worms, and that's when they start their migration through the body. And the cycle comes full circle when a new, uninfected fly bites that person, picks up the parasite, and then becomes a brand new carrier. You know, for a long, long time, a person who's infected might have absolutely no idea. But eventually, the worm starts to reveal itself, and it does it in a really strange way. The very first big clue is something called a fugitive swelling. So why fugitive? Well, it gets that name because the adult worm is pretty much constantly on the move. And you'd be surprised how fast it is. We're talking about it migrating under your skin at a rate of up to an inch every 2 minutes. That's a pretty good clip. And it's that movement that causes these weird, mysterious swellings to just pop up and then disappear. Yeah, try to picture this. A big swelling, maybe 10 centimeters across, just shows up on your arm or your leg, seemingly out of nowhere. It hangs around for a few days, maybe a week, and then poof, it's gone, as mysteriously as it appeared. That's exactly why they call them fugitive swellings. They're basically on the run, just following the hidden path of that worm. So these fugitive swellings are the main symptom for sure, but they are not what gives Loa loa its famous nickname. Oh no, that comes from the moment this hidden parasite decides it's time to make its most dramatic appearance yet. Now, despite how strange and frankly unsettling all of this is, it's actually important to know that the worm itself usually doesn't cause any serious long-term health problems. For the most part, it's a mostly harmless passenger. Except, of course, for this. This is the big reveal, the moment of truth. It's when the worm's journey takes it across the bridge of the nose, or even more shockingly, right across the white of your eye. Can you imagine? This is often the very first and maybe the only time an infected person actually sees the parasite that's been living inside of them all along. Okay, so you've just seen a worm crawl across your eye. What happens now? How do doctors figure out what's going on, and more importantly, what can they do about it? Diagnosing this thing is really like a piece of medical detective work. First, doctors are going to look for those telltale fugitive swellings. They'll ask about your travel history. Hey, have you been in an area with deer flies? Blood tests can also offer up some pretty big clues, but the only way to be 100% positive, the big confirmation, it's physically recovering the worm, which, often happens right there in the patient's eye. The good news is there is a clear solution here. Once it's diagnosed, the infection is totally treatable. There's an anti-parasitic drug called diethylcarbamazine, and this one medication is super effective, not just for treating individual people, but also for controlling the spread throughout entire communities. You know, the story of the eyeworm is just such a powerful reminder that our bodies, they're not just our own. we're actually sharing them with this whole hidden world of other organisms. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else is living out there just beneath the surface?